and gave it to another one. And said to those little children, in the middle of this community, full of the homeless, the dispossessed, the hungry, said to them, boys and girls, you're here in this church. You're worshiping. You're learning the music. You're hearing the prayers. You're hearing about Jesus because He came into the world as a king from on high. For the King of heaven came down and became poor in order that you and I might become kings and queens. I think it registered with those children. I think they got it. And that's the Diocese of Florida at work through Amanda, through her deacon, Jeannie Byer, your archdeacon, through Sue Carmichael, lifting up people, changing lives. There's more to be done. There are more children who need to wear bishop's vestments. Amen. And there are more bishops who should be willing to be where they are and give those vestments up for a few minutes in order to change their lives. There's so many others. This is not going to be a laundry list of an address. I wanted to talk about youth. I wanted to talk about those inner city missions. I want to mention West Jacks and the things that Tony Ferguson and his people are doing there. You know, this is a great outreach. This is a place that, too, is touching and changing lives, connected to St. Peter's Church in Jacksonville. It is, I think, Tony, where are you? Tony. It is, I think, the only outreach ministry I've ever known that started basically with dental care for the indigent. Dentists volunteering to come and work on the teeth of the poor. What a marvelous way to touch people's lives. What a great way to begin to introduce them to the love of God as we know it in Jesus Christ through action. Through action. It's what our baptismal creed invites us to do. Of course, our prison ministries and our ministry with the wounded warriors, which is involving and touching the lives of so many of us. These are all just a few of the ways in which we as a diocese, together, all of us, nearly 30,000, over 70 congregations, if we include those college chaplaincies in our prison ministries. These are just a few of the ways in which we proclaim by word and deed the good news of God in Christ. These are the sorts of gospel proclamation that you and I aren't just going to celebrate from year to year anymore, but that we're going to be committed to support with our lives, with our action, and with our treasure. A few years ago, we engaged in a strategic plan, and all of these things were mentioned, along with more. And also, there was something wonderful in that strategic plan that I think a lot of us missed. I think I missed it for a while. It was a feeling about who we are as a diocese, talking about this larger community, again, that Jim referred to in his comments yesterday. We belong to something larger. And in that strategic plan, that vision was there. Being part of something outside ourselves, being part of something outside our local congregation, being part of something that together we could support and work in and encourage to change even more lives. One thing I missed in that strategic report was a description of who we are. It said that the Diocese of Florida has a character. It has a way of doing business, particularly in the wake of those tragic and unfortunate divisions of a few years ago, that our strategic plan defined as gracious orthodoxy. How about that for a description? Gracious orthodoxy. Trinitarian, creedal Christians. But Christians who are willing to engage one another and willing within certain boundaries, intelligence, civil discourse, to explore and to challenge and to consider free to gracefully disagree, even with the bishop, but to remain together in prayer, together in worship, together in mission, together in all those wonderful ministries that you and I celebrate today. We're coming up to what's going to be, I suspect, a fairly tough General Convention. I think there are going to be controversial issues considered at this summer's General Convention in Indianapolis. There will be issues debated there and voted on which members of our diocese will have honest differences and disagreements. And so this spring, I plan to work with your deputation to General Convention to organize some meetings, have people come together and express opinions and voice doubts and concerns, talk about joys and talk about uncomfortable areas, so that together, again, as a diocese, all 30,000 of us will know what to expect. We'll be ready. I don't want us to ever be caught off guard again like we were 8-9 years ago. And I never, ever want to see us at war with each other again. We're together in this, you and I, all of us, whether we label ourselves theologically liberal or conservative, Republican or Democrat, whether we're in favor of the blessing of gay unions or we're unalterably opposed to it, whether we like the idea of a brand new prayer book or not, or portions thereof. We're going to remain together, and we're going to remain in conversation, and we're going to remain in mission and ministry, and we're going to live out that way we described ourselves. We are going to be graciously orthodox. The other day, Bob Griffiths, my canon, came into my office and he said, there's something that I think maybe you ought to draw the diocese's attention to. He said, I don't think you want to draw the diocese's attention to it, but maybe you should. And he said, Jack Spong is going to be preaching and teaching down in St. Augustine in a couple of weeks. I think you should announce that. Well, I scratched my head. I said, Bob, when's that going to be? And he gave me a date, and I said, well, the day after that, I'll let you know my response. I said, it's a good idea. Let's put it out there. We can't fear Jack Spong, can we? A lot of us agree with Jack Spong, but none of us need to be. He's a gentle, loving man. One of the great pastors of the Episcopal Church, the sort of role model for individual ministry that I'd like to have. I remember once upon a time in my early days, the greatest ambition of my life was to be rector of Calvary Church in Tarboro, North Carolina. Jack Spong had been rector there years ago as a young man. And I interviewed and I met people from Calvary, and Marie was there with me, and we stayed in the rector's house and visited with folks. And I was talking to a woman one night. I said, well, tell me about Jack Spong. I'm no Jack Spong. And she said, oh, I hope you grow up to be one then. She said, the night my husband was diagnosed with cancer, Jack Spong was at the doctor's office with us. As he progressed through the stages, Jack Spong, and the night he died, Jack Spong came to the room, sat in the corner. He had prayed with us. He had visited. He had done all those good pastoral things we clergy are called to. He said, Jack sat in the corner and played solitaire. But he was there. Well, go down and hear what Jack has to say. I don't agree with him on the incarnation. I don't agree with him on miracles. I don't agree with him on who Jesus was or how Mary did it. But I I hope when the moment comes that He'll inspire me to be there with you. To be there with you. To do the things that we need to do together, that you need your bishop to do with you, that you need me to be present in, that you need me to encourage your clergy to be present for, so that community continues to be built, and so that we continue down that road that we have begun toward once more being one of the truly great dioceses of the Episcopal Church. I started out talking about the River Jordan, its origins and its journey today. And I want to finish with the water of the River Jordan. You know, every time a new rector, a new vicar is installed in this diocese, I'm there. Prayer book permits me not to. I think I've missed one. I was having surgery, and Bishop Kaiser was at one a couple of years ago. But I make it a point to be at everyone because it's important. Why? The presence of the bishop, drawing things together, being part of the life of the local congregation, and no important moment in that life than when a new priest comes to be the leader of that congregation. This is an important moment, an important theological moment, when the gifts are being given to the new rector, to the new vicar. A Bible will first be given with some words about proclaiming the gospel. Nothing more important. And the second gift that's given at our institutions is a flagon of water. And I'll pick it up and I'll hand it to the new congregational leader, the priest, the vicar. And I'll say, take this water and baptize on my behalf, on behalf of your bishop, on behalf of the whole diocese in this place. What I'm saying isn't that I'm the only one with a license to baptize. I certainly am not. But when I give that water to the new rector, to the new vicar, I'm saying that 30,000 Episcopalians from Quincy to Palm Coast, from Carabel to Fernandina are there for that baptism. And I'm saying that the waters of the River Jordan flow still. They flow. They flow through this diocese. They flow through our lives. They wash us. They cleanse us. They convert us. They change us. And they constantly remind us of the presence of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God in our lives. There's so much more I want to say. The main thing I want to say is we love one another. And we are, like all those living at the base of Mount Hermon, in this together. The missiles may be flying over our head, but we are going to carry on with the mission, the ministry, and the gospel proclamation to which God has called us. Amen.